DevilNeverCry.
What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and in this video we're going to be going over everything you need to know before playing Forspoken. You can consider everything that we'll be going through in this video as my top tips to help you through Athia and the journey that is Forspoken. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Before we begin, I ask that you like this video and consider subscribing. Not only does it help out the channel a ton with the algorithm, but it means you won't miss out on any future Forspoken content. First on the list, detours. I suggest that you do any and every detour that comes along your way as soon as you get them, with a few exceptions. Detours in Forspoken are essentially side quests. They are entirely optional. They can range from incredibly brief and short to quite lengthy, and the rewards can range from mediocre to absolutely fantastic. But the reason that I say that you should do all of the detours that come along your way as soon as you get them is because they are missable. Detours are all time sensitive, which means that if you wait too long or if you push too far ahead in the story, you'll miss out on them entirely until your next playthrough. Conveniently, the game lets you know when there are new detours available, so do your best to get all of them done before progressing on. Up next, exploration. You should constantly be exploring in Forspoken for numerous reasons. Not only are there a lot of hidden secrets out there in the open world, but there are a lot of cool challenges and things that you can be doing to help strengthen Frey. From outright stat boosts, to new equipment, to items that further the narrative of Forspoken, to even new moves that Frey can use within combat and traversal, there is a lot of incentive to simply explore and put the parkour system to good use. If I had one extra tip to recommend, I definitely suggest that you prioritize seeking out refuges and belfries in Forspoken. These are two types of structures that you can immediately fast travel to no matter where you are in Athia. So if you simply want to explore an area later, all you can simply do is find the closest refuge or belfry, travel to it, and then leave and go on your merry way, allowing you to come back later at your own leisure thanks to the fast travel system. Pressing ahead, it's important to remember that Forspoken is an action RPG, with a focus on the RPG section of that. This game does feature several different statistics that will dictate just how well Frey does in combat. Along with that, there is a very rudimentary crafting system that will allow you to buff and boost these stats, allowing you to improve your overall combat performance. So, it's important that you constantly upgrade your equipment at the pre-mentioned refuges. Throughout the entire world of Athia and Forspoken, you'll be able to find crafting materials littered everywhere. Enemies also just so happen to drop crafting materials as well, giving you an extra incentive to dish out that ass-kicking the enemies so desperately want at times. Just make sure that when you're playing, you don't forget to take the time to upgrade your equipment, as it can make some tricky fights much easier. Moving on, there is one thing that I absolutely have to mention, as for me it was a game changer when it comes to quality of life, and that is the auto switch of support magic. For those of you that don't know, in Forspoken, there are essentially 4 different elements or flavors of magic that essentially fall into 2 different categories: offensive magic and support magic. Offensive magic, as the name implies, is largely used to deal damage and attack enemies. Importantly though, it can be used continuously and rapidly for however long you want. On the other hand, support magic comes with a cooldown. Once you use one specific type of support magic, that magic can no longer be used until the cooldown period ends. What the auto switch feature does is, as the name suggests, it simply cycles to the next available support magic that you have that isn't on a cooldown. This stops you from having to go into the radial menu to select a different type of support magic every time you use an ability and it is in cooldown mode. It's a small change that effectively has a large impact on the flow of combat. So for that reason, I definitely recommend that you play with this feature enabled. And whilst we're on the topic of combat, let's talk about weaknesses, specifically enemy weaknesses. As I previously mentioned, there are essentially 4 different types of magic that Frey has access to at any given moment that she can call upon in real time when facing enemies. Conveniently enough, each enemy in this game is weak to a particular type of magic, Therefore, if you use the wrong type of magic on an enemy, you're going to have a really bad time. On the other side of the spectrum, if you use magic that an enemy is weak to, however, you're going to absolutely obliterate them. And so for that reason, I suggest you really pay attention to the type of magic you're using against enemies. Cuff has a feature where he's able to scan an enemy, and he'll literally be able to tell you what an enemy is resistant against and what an enemy is weak to. Now, aside from upgrading your equipment or taking on specific challenges in the world of Athia, there is one other way that you can upgrade your statistics, and that is spellcrafting. Throughout Forspoken, Frey has access to a multitude of different individual magical abilities, and through the use of spellcrafting, you'll be able to upgrade each and every single individual ability via taking on a specific challenge that requires you to use that skill in a particular way. And by successfully completing that challenge, you'll permanently upgrade that ability. Upgrades range from things like damage boosts to stamina recovery boosts to nulling stamina use altogether. They essentially incentivize you to use your skills in combat or in traversal in particular ways, sometimes requiring you to think outside of the box, but they are definitely worth taking on. Coincidentally, when looking at the magic upgrade menu, you'll realize that some of the icons have been replaced entirely with a question mark, and you can't unlock them by spending mana. These are skills that can only be unlocked by finding a Fount of Blessing. These again are structures hidden somewhere on the map of Athia that you'll need to find and jump into, and once you do so, you'll automatically and immediately unlock that skill for Frey to use. Now, I say the Founts of Blessing are hidden, but they really aren't. Conveniently, by simply hovering over the skill on the menu and pressing the map button, it will immediately take you to where the Fount of Blessing is on the map, allowing you to simply just place a marker on it and make your way over there. Aside from the first Fount of Blessing, which the game literally throws you towards as part of a mandatory tutorial, most Founts of Blessings will lie off the beaten path and nowhere near your typical main objective, so it is definitely worth seeking out these specific Founts of Blessing, as they can give you access to some really cool moves both in and out of combat. And if there was only one more tip that I could give you to help you in your journey in Forspoken, it's that you use parkour in combat as well as just simply traversing the world. Parkour in combat is a must, particularly if you're going to tackle some of the harder difficulties. It should be used specifically to reposition yourself, either to evade an enemy's attack or to gain a more advantageous position, allowing you to rain down hellfire upon them. Definitely make use of parkour. Not only does Frey have some pretty cool parkour attack animations, but the game actually incentivizes you to do so, as it helps to boost your overall combat ranking for that encounter. And yes, you heard me correctly, combat ranking in an ARPG. Think of it like DevilNeverCry. Every time you enter a combat encounter, you'll be ranked on how well you do in said encounter. You can raise the ranking from E rank all the way up to S rank, or star rank as it's known in this game, by hitting enemies with a variety of attacks and deftly dodging their attacks in return. If you simply spam the same type of attack against an enemy, the bar will not go up, and if you take damage, the rank will drop considerably. The better the ranking, the higher the XP multiplier at the end of that encounter. So to put it simply, the better you play, the more the game rewards you with experience points. And so that wraps up my top tips and everything you need to know before playing Forspoken. Let me know down in the comments below if there's anything that I missed out that you would definitely include. With all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.